Hi, this is Nathan Losey with MUX 1409, so September of 2014 for mobile user experience. This is my storyboarding project for week 3. You can see that I've decided to lay this out in the storyboarding portion of Xcode. That seemed like a logical place to work. I'm pretty familiar with how the apple specifically is supposed to look by now after a couple of classes. It makes it nice and easy to include the default stuff. The default elements here are, so for instance, the table views you can kind of see are the defaults. So that's going to kind of help keep things neat and orderly, and it makes a nice whiteboard environment to just mock up the locations of buttons without having to worry too much about the end goal aesthetics. Clearly this is going to get a little bit prettier if we were to develop it, but for now this will kind of hold us over. You can see the locations that I've got envisioned for this banking application, as well as the best ways to keep the user interface kind of clean and straightforward. First things first, the target user of this application. Now, there's a lot of people who have use for a banking application. My particular goal here is to kind of keep things easy for the everyman, while also maintaining function. For today, I have included just the necessary functions. Some of the other stuff I just didn't know how to include here, so like for how to order checkbooks, wasn't sure exactly what goes into that in a real banking application, so I wanted to keep it simple, get the obvious stuff that banks do need to have up front. So you see we first start off with the first bank here, which has our login information. Pretty straightforward. Logins are pretty much always the same for every website, so you type in your username and password. These are both editable text fields. We've got a nice login button, and presumably over this transition we go to a server check to make sure that you've got the right password. And then it brings us straight to the account overview. Now I've decided to bring this straight to a list of account information because, well, it doesn't really seem like it's necessary to add any additional steps. You need your user to get directly to where they need to go as quickly as possible, and most likely a user is going to be best informed by being able to see the balances of the accounts that they are in control of with their account before they need to do anything else. Before they would need to start a transfer, they want to make sure they've got the funds they need. They probably want to, half the time you're logging into your account, you're going to be checking just to make sure you have the money you need for a transaction. So we're going to bring the user here first, and this is going to kind of act as the hub for the rest of the transactions we're going to be making, or the rest of the uses we've got. You'll notice that I've included a navigation bar or a button bar here at the bottom, which is how we're going to be doing the majority of the moving around. It's got links to 3 of our big functions, and the 4th one of the necessary functions is actually a link directly from each of these table view cells. So if we were to hypothetically click on our checking 1 here, that would bring us up to our transaction history. So you'll see here that we've got a very nice another table view, which is just going to lay out very nice and neatly the amounts, including positive for deposits and negatives for withdrawals or point of sales transactions. Presumably, again, once we've got this in full development, this is all going to pull transaction information, and it won't just say point of sale, it might say Walmart point of sale, but again, just want to keep this nice and easy for explanation purposes. You'll notice we've added a home button since we've moved away from that account overview. That is again going to bring us back just to here so we can see our accounts. That persists throughout the rest of our function views, but we also keep the button bar so you don't have to keep going back to that hub if you just want to move straight from your transaction history to, say, do a transfer. And so we'll say we click on the transfer here, and that brings us over to our next view controller, which is running away from us. We've got the transfer here, which is going to be nice and straightforward. Again, for now this is represented as text box, but the end goal here would be we'd have a drop-down menu that would present you with the list of accounts that you have the option to transact from. We've got an easy little switch here that sets that either you're trying to send money out to other people, or to your own accounts, and by flipping the switch it would change the context of a drop down here, so that again we keep things nice and straightforward. You can see very clearly who you're sending the money to, and you'd be able to update this with your contacts, people you often send money to, and then you'd of course have the amount of the transfer. We'd next move on to our check deposit. Now that's going to be utilizing a camera So we've got represented by an image view. This is going to be the screen that actually allows the camera to function properly. We do actually have the code for that, but again, just trying to mock up these screens here, which would be a real simple, just point and click at the check in question, hit the capture, and it would update automatically. Would of course need to provide instructions at that point, but I'm not personally familiar with the way that these applications work. My bank doesn't offer that particular function, so I wasn't able to research too much about how the additional steps that would need to go into that. But then our last function here is the find branch function, which is going to give us the option to actually, bring up we've got an MK map view, and you type in your zip code. It's going to put up the pins that are going to show any of the nearby locations. And we get one more table view here that's going to show the results with the location name and the distance that it is from your current location, and that's going to help you get to a bank. It should make things a little bit easier for any given user. And so this is how we've kind of laid out the bank application here. Should keep things nice and streamlined. That's pretty much it for this week's project. Hope everything is pretty straightforward, and we'll look forward to seeing you guys all next week for the final week of this class.